Uh, I'm Gary Cunningham, District 1 Leadership Group. This is a lot to handle in 1 minute, but unfortunately, that's the way it is. You'll each have 1 minute to respond to a budget question. The budget defines the direction of the city. The current mayor's budget message runs 24 pages long and highlights hundreds of items. As mayor next year, what are some of the main items you would keep in the budget at current levels? What new items would you introduce and/or current items increase? And what would you decrease or eliminate to pay for them? Or would you seek increased funding? We'll start the responses with Supervisor Cindy Chavez, followed by council members Deb Davis, Matt Mahan, and Paul Perez.
Thank you, Gary. And you're right, not an easy one in 1 minute. What I would say is that I would be very interested in increasing public safety officers and also code enforcement. I would also want to make sure that we maintained the investment that we have in housing and homelessness, but with a much deeper partnership with the county so that frankly, we know what each other are spending, how we're spending it, so that we might better leverage each other's investments. The other is that I think it's really important to recognize that the mayor has an opportunity working with other mayors across the state and across the country to seek changes in both state and federal funding. You know, cities don't get very much actually from state and federal funds. And I think based on what we've just experienced through COVID, that there's an opportunity to leverage that experience to continue to bring resources back that would allow us to expand other programs. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Davis.
You. My budgets will focus on rebuilding public safety, tackling homelessness and blight, and ensuring a thriving economy. We need more officers, as we've already talked about, and so I'm not going to cover that too much, but it is really important for us to be able to respond appropriately to the 911 calls about mentally ill people. And so we absolutely have to expand our pairing of officers with mental health workers. We need to make sure our fire stations, especially our new fire stations, are fully staffed. And in terms of tackling homelessness, we need to take a comprehensive look at everything we're doing and focus as much as possible on what we must do as a city, which is provide safety and sanitation, and enlist the county's partnership on what they are responsible for. And those are the services: mental health, drug addiction, and outreach. I agree, we absolutely need to fund homelessness prevention as well, and that saves money in the long run by keeping people housed. In terms of tackling blight.
Thank you. Councilmember Mahan.
Thank you. My top priorities are ending street homelessness, increasing public safety, and cleaning up our city. And my budget will be focused and reflect those priorities. But more importantly, the way I approach the budget, based on my experience actually managing budgets, is that I have insisted upon, in fact, my colleagues just agreed with my memo stating that we need to set objective measures of success at the front end of the budget process. And then all of the ideas in the budget, whether it's from the mayor, from other council members, from departments, or from the public, needs to be aligned around the objective measures of success that are how we know if we're doing a good job or not. We need to know which dollars we're spending are actually having an impact. I will invest heavily in performance metrics and creating feedback loops so that we're getting more impact around those priorities for each dollar of public money that we're spending. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Perez.
Thank you. We have a very lean budget every year, and it's challenging really to say that there's anything that we should be eliminating from that base budget. What we really need are new resources to be able to add to our budget. And in fact, I've been in line with our mayor's budget proposals every year except for one, and that was 3 years ago when the mayor would not incorporate funding for addressing equity issues here in the city. I would seek to increase funding for addressing specifically homelessness and then enhancing our public safety services like police and fire. And I would seek out capacity increases in our businesses, like implementing Measure H from 2 years ago, which was an increase on our card rooms that our mayor did not support, but that had an opportunity to generate an additional $40 million per year. And unfortunately, it's now held up at the state. And I would help to unstick that and continue to add resources to the city.
Thank you, all of you, for responding to that budget question in a relatively short time. Thanks again.